What is up, YouTube? It's your boy Alex here from Agressive, and today we have another deck profile. Today we're going to be looking at something for premium. We are going to be looking at an aggressive version of Fenrir. So I know Fenrir did win Worlds, and it actually, it's been established as a pretty good deck as of late, and I think that trend still is going to continue, but there is another way you can build this to be a little bit more aggressive. Seeing people talk about it, just wanted to kind of bring it to the channel and show you what I am currently playing, my iteration of it. And it does go more so the aggressive route in general, but we do not just ignore the fact that you can have this amazing kind of disruption and all those other plays that the Fenrir kind of gives us. So this is a little bit of a hybrid, more leaning towards the aggressive side, and I can't wait to bring this to you guys. So let's hop right in. And right before we begin, I just wanted to quickly mention that if you did want to purchase any of the cards that you see here today, do have a TCG Player affiliate link down in the description below. Absolutely no cost to you. You could help support the channel by shopping through that link. Really appreciate it. I'll never ask you guys for money, donations, anything like that, so that is a huge help to me. Also, if you guys are enjoying the content, make sure to leave a like on the video, possibly consider subscribing to the channel. But with all that good stuff out of the way, let's begin. So we're going to start off with 3 of this guy over here. So this is the Fenrir that we mainly want to go into. This is the guy that kind of enables a little bit more of that aggression. Let's read him off over here because it is an older G unit that did kind of get a little bit more relevance with the history collection set. So first skill, I'm pretty much going to ignore it. We don't really ever use that. But its second skill, auto on Vanguard Circle. When your G unit strides during your turn, get to Soul Charge 3, and then we'll choose one of your Vanguards. It gets auto once per turn when a card is put into the drop from your soul. You can CB1, call that card that's put into your drop to Rearguard Circle until the end of turn. So this helps us enable some of the multi-attack, and from here we can get various other attacks kind of going out and really make use of the 2 force markers that we're going to be using for the stride that goes over this one. That stride uses the 3 Soul Blasts essentially that we are soul charging here, so it's actually a really good kind of like self-fulfillment of the cost, which is really nice overall. So he is the one that, like I said, we are going to mainly go into, but we are going to run at least one of the Fenrir. There's going to be certain matchups where you just kind of want to be disruptive, don't actually want to play a very committal game, and this kind of helps us run into like a more laid-back kind of strategy that will disrupt our opponent, like we said. And we basically do that through its second skill over here, which is auto on Vanguard Circle. When your card is put from your soul into your drop zone, you get to counterblast 1 and then call one of those cards to rearguard. Basically, you can call Vanguard, you can call other things that kind of just start to disrupt your opponent's board. You can also enable the Melissa mill out. There's just like a ton of different things you can do with that. But it's first skill if you needed to ride up and honestly just use it. It is what it is. It's completely fine. You can do that too. Act on Vanguard Circle once per turn. You Soul Blast 1 or more cards, search your deck for up to 1 card with that same grade as the sum of the grades. Soul Blasted for the card for the cost, reveal it, put it into your hand, shuffle your deck, and call a card from your hand to Rearguard Circle. And yeah, just very easy. Again, this deck, think of it almost like, I don't know what this is called, like Ket or Granblue in a way, because you can just go search for so many pieces. There's so many like recursion methods and just weird kind of disruptions that you can do with this deck. So very nice. I think that the 3-1 split, if you wanted to take it the more aggressive route, this is pretty much the split you would go with. You can go 2-2, and again, in other builds, people just run straight up like all the Fenrir. So do what you want. Also, when it attacks, you can Soul Blast and activate that call out kind of thing, which is nice too. But we are going to get into our next grade 3 over here, and we are still running for Vanguard. Vanguard is really, really nice. Still super powerful for that disruption, powerful on your turn, rigging triggers, potentially getting your soul filled up, just all different things that you want to be doing at all different times. This is such a good card in my opinion. Need to be running this at 4, kind of speaks for itself. You need to see it in game, especially if you're running the aggressive builds where you can't necessarily search it out. You're not always going with that grade 3 right there. This is needs to be run at a higher ratio overall. Don't want to soul charge and not be able to access a bunch of them early on into the game. Having this at 4 of, I think, is a kind of a no-brainer in that regard. But let's just read its important skill over here. The first one on Van or Rear, when placed, you get Soul Blast, choose one of your opponent's rear guards, and then retire it. And then if it was on Van, you get to retire the whole column. Again, we want to be calling that kind of off of this guy's skill. If we did Soul Blast during our turn defensively, pop that down. Soul Blast can retire a unit potentially that has a bunch of triggers on it, a big unit you just don't want to actually have swing at you. So that is a play that is enabled through this guy. Also, at the end of battle attack, you can put this unit into your soul, look at the top 3 cards out of your deck, put 1 card from among them to the top of your deck, one of them into the soul, and then 1 onto the bottom deck. So again, rigging this, your triggers or whatever it is, or whatever piece that you may need at that certain time is really, really good. And then again, you can, based on like the on-stride skill, you can CB to call it out, do it all kind of again. It's just a really good card. The utility of this is definitely there. So running that at a 4 of, in my opinion, like I said, is a no-brainer. Next up here too, just a generic Keter tool that is super good. I feel like it's so busted. I run it in like all my Genesis builds now just because it has such synergy with everything. This is Reverence Rust Dragon. I'm just running 1 copy of it, and I feel like that's all you really need. When this guy is placed on rear from hand, you get the Soul Blast 1, choose a grade 2 or greater from your drop zone, and put it to the top of your deck. basically stack heals over and over. You can kind of control the game, the flow of the game, things of that nature. It is just super easy to use. You could also get this off multiple times in one turn as well. You won't really be able to get to the second drive checks off just because we don't have restanding vanguards in this this build right here, but at the same time, you could set up maybe, the heal for next turn or whatever it is. There's different ways you could pop this out for like a multiple play on one turn with it. So it is super nice to kind of have that utility available to us. Getting into the grade 2s now, 4 of Gleipnir. Gleipnir is still one of the best cards in the clan. Such a nice grade 2 overall. Again, the utility in the toolboxing that this deck offers is kind of like actually really surprising. When you play the deck, you're going to feel it. You're going to see it like, wow, I pretty much, wherever my pieces are, I can kind of find them, I can reuse them, I can just recycle, so it is really nice. But Gleipnir over here, Van or Rear, when placed, counterblast 1, soul charge, choose a card from your soul, return it to your hand, boom, just get anything you want kind of back, which is really, really nice. And then its second skill, on Rearguard Circle, when it attacks, Soul Blast 1, this guy gets 10k until the end of turn. Mid-battle phase Soul Blasting is more important in this build than it is in like the pure V Fenrir build. I think you still run this in there, I'm not 10,000% sure, but basically in this version of the build, you need 4 of these. That mid-battle phase Soul Blast is really, really important. Speaking of that, this is pretty much the main include and the reason we're running this guy right here. This is Knight of Piercing, Cadwalla. So Cadwalla's skill, this is a card from Overdress. The Cadwalla skill is at the end of battle, this unit attack the Vanguard. If you have 4 or more units, get to Soul Blast 1, retire this unit. Look at the top 3 cards of your deck, choose up to 1 grade 2 or greater card from among them, reveal it, put it into your hand, shuffle your deck, and if you did not reveal a card, you get to draw a card. So either card draw, you can get, maybe you need to find the correct ride, boom, you pop this guy off, you find him. Has really good utility. It's not hard to rush early in the game, and rushing early in this deck is not as committal as you think because you recur a lot of your resources, you recur a lot of things while making your field disappear, which is really good in certain matchups. Like there's going to be matchups where you definitely don't want things like on board. You want to make your opponent work for certain things, and this is a card that helps you enable to do that. Also, the mid-battle phase Soul Blast, like I said, is super important to get the on-stride skill pretty much off, so we have running 3 of that. Next up here, too, we are running 2 of this guy. This guy is Reverent White Sorcerer Veritrum. So Veritrum was a promo. I don't think it's been reprinted as anything else, but it is not super expensive, which is nice. All the V promos are kind of cheap, which is always good in my opinion. When this guy is put on Guardian Circle, you CB1, Soul Blast 3. Choose one of your opponent's rear guards with a standing unit, rear guard circles with a standing unit. Your opponent looks at the top card of their deck, calls it to the chosen rear guard, and your opponent's auto abilities do not activate from this call. So many times this has come in so clutch. Just get rid of that pesky unit. Like, you don't have to do anything crazy. You don't have to do anything like insane necessarily. It's just pop it down, pay the cost, do what you want. There's ways to kind of get it elsewhere as well, but at the end of the day, this is such a simple and easy card to kind of get rid of so many pesky units that could be swinging at you for, lethal. It's just a matter of life and death sometimes, that card. So Veritrum is very strong. Also, I do have the Melissa Mill package kind of in here, so it's a very minimal one. I'm literally just running 1 gold Gaon just for the instance that I might be able to actually do that on my opponent. So, essentially with gold Gaon, let me read the skill over here. You want to, when this placed on rear, Soul Blast 1, call a grade 1 from your hand to rearguard circle. Unit called for this cost gets 5k until the end of turn. I'll go over the Melissa skill, but essentially, again, when we're on the V Fenrir, this is more of the V Fenrir defensive kind of option. And again, this is a versatile deck build where you can run the pure aggression if you want to, if you feel that's the way you want to bring it, or you can kind of go into this. You're on the V Fenrir, Soul Blast out, gold Gaon comes here, Soul Blast that. It comes down with the counterblast from the V Fenrir, and then you get Melissa out, and I'll read Melissa in just a moment, but you can essentially deck your opponent out in their like battle phase or whatever it was, which is super nice. So let's actually read her first. Let me skip ahead a little bit just because we're talking about it. So Melissa, over here, when this guy is placed from hand, you get to Soul Blast 3. Your opponent looks at the same number of cards on the top of his or her deck as the number of cards as their rear guards. Call them to rear guard circles with units on them, and then shuffle their deck. Your opponent's abilities do not activate from this call. This can put them in really funny situations. I'll pop that gold Gaon gets this down, like I just said. And then, maybe they didn't drive check yet or something. You did that whole combo. All of a sudden, they have 2 cards left in deck. Okay, now they can't swing with their Vanguard. It becomes a very fragile kind of game state. And if they don't have ways to kind of fill their deck back up, they could just, be looking at the end off of that one simple combo. So I do have the package in there. And of course, we're getting into the grade 1s now. So I don't know if I said that. I might have, but I just want to clarify. But yeah, getting into the rest of our grade 1s here. We are running 3 of the Magic Colored Flame. How do you say this? Relim? Something like that? I don't know what the hell it is. But it's very difficult in Premium to run a grade 1 with a 5k shield. That's because numbers are so big, power is so so big, but it has to be a very, very powerful unit in order to do that, and that's exactly what this is. This is used in pretty much all builds in Premium right now, you know, Youth Genesis, this, the other Fenrir build. Like, it's just such a good such a good card overall. At the end of the battle, this unit boosted. If you have a Vanguard with only Genesis for its clan, put 2 rear guards in the same column as this unit into Soul. Choose a card from your drop with only Genesis for its clan, put it into your hand. You know, you need the PG, you need something to attack with next turn, you need something to, you know, maybe part of the Melissa package, maybe anything you want from your drop goes back to hand, which is insane. You could, you know, if you use the OT, let's say, you can get that back to hand over here. Actually, I'm sorry, choose a card from your drop with only Genesis. You can not the OT on that one. I'm sorry, I misspoke. I was like, wait a minute, I haven't done that before. Why haven't I done that? And that makes sense. But yeah, get heal guards back, PGs back, things of that nature. It's just so good defensively. It's absolutely insane. Fuels your soul too for any of the soul blast costs. Can put nice things that you do want to soul blast, call back out, and kind of get a multi attack with. Kind of sets that up as well. Just so nice in my opinion. Also over here, something that is pretty cool. It kind of pairs up with that thing as well. That card, the Reharim, whatever. But Astrella of Full Heavens. So this girl over here, when plays on Van or Rear, you get to draw a card, put a card from your hand to the bottom of your deck. And if this guy was on Vanguard Circle, you get the Soul Charge too, which is nice in the early game. Auto on Rearguard Circle, at the end of battle, this boosted. You get the Soul Blast too, and then return this unit to your hand. Soul Blasting mid-battle phase, again, is the name of the game. The nice thing with this too, let's say, you know, you put something you wanted to put back in deck, like you want to stack triggers, you want to do whatever it is, you want to put something back in deck. Get the card with this over here, then activate this guy's skill. You know, later on the next turn, whenever it is, one place, do your whole thing. It could just, you know, there's been times where I've flown and I felt that turn to turn. So this does have a little bit of synergy with that, but it's really just like the big Soul Blast too. Also, putting the card in from your hand to the bottom deck, like, you'll see there's time, I know you're drawing, there's times where like I said, you just want certain things back in your deck, makes you a little bit more lethal, makes you a bit more pressure overall, and I personally really do like this card. I think that this is just right at 3 of. At 4 of, it's a little bulky. 2 of, you don't see it as much, and it is a booster, which is doing the Soul Blast, which is really nice in my opinion. Next up over here too, we are running 2 of the Mythic Beast Skull, the V version, and then 1 of the G version over here. The V version, basically top 5, look for a grade 3, add it to your hand. If you added a card, discard a card. Almost the same thing over here, but when placed on rear from hand, you reveal a grade 3, so you have an additional, you know, another grade 3, whatever. Then you go search your deck for a Fenrir. So this is top 5, this is deck searching. We are running the V Fenrir at 1 of, so sometimes you do know you want to go into that. This can help you kind of go and find it. For everything else, like, this is just a great kind of ratio. These two really do help you a lot. You know, it can find you the regular G Fenrir as well. So very good card in my opinion. I really do actually like this a lot. I'm running that at that 3 of, so the 1-2 split. And then just to have the utility in here, because there are times where we will be a little bit short of counterblast, things of that nature. Claimer Harry is just, again, such a good generic card for Genesis in general. Auto on Rearguard Circle once per turn. This guy is GB1. When your card is put into the drop zone from your soul, put that card to the bottom of your deck, and you countercharge 1. So, you know, you're Soul Blasting 3 for potentially a skill on your Vanguard. You want to actually have that thing go back to deck. Boom, you can do that. On top of it, you can countercharge. So just a really nice way to kind of extend plays, get, you know, your deck count up, which means a whole lot towards the end of the game in this, in my opinion. So Claimer Harry is at that 1 of. And then wrapping us up pretty much with the main deck, we are running 3 of Fetter of Leather Lading, I think it's how to say it. Lading something, I don't know, but this is a Forerunner. We don't use it as such. We use a regular starter in here, but we are going to use it for its second ability, Act GB1. You put this into your soul and then choose one of your Vanguards. It gets till the end of turn. When your unit not named this guy right here is put into the drop zone from soul, you can call that card to Rearguard Circle. Super nice, free, pretty much. You know, it does cost a card from hand, but at the end of the day, like, you should be getting things kind of off of that. You can be replacing it in hand. It's going to go at least equal in my opinion. The pressure that this puts on, just the overall utility, like if you're going first and you're really actually trying to aggress people down, like that stride in combination with this, in combination with the on-stride skill, like you just create so many multi-attacks and just a whole lot of pressure that, you know, it puts you in a good state overall. I think at 3 of, it's fine. You could technically bump it up to 4. I think at 2 of, it's a little bit too few in the deck personally, but I like it at that 3 of, so that is what I'm personally running it at. Cool. We are also obviously running 1 starter over here, and now let's pan out and get into the triggers. So this is a premium Genesis deck, and with that, we are running at least 1 Dreaming Dragon. Just have to restack your deck, honestly. It's not up for debate. Have to do it at a certain point. There's just so many cards that are soul blasting, soul charging. You're doing things all the time. Your deck will get thinned. This is the lifesaver at a certain point. I'm also running 6 crit just because we do have to include that. Obviously, we are running OT. We'll get to that in a second. I'm running 2 of the pay for the stride cost. Also 4 of the defensive draw ones, the Stake Fetter Thevil. Putting into soul, drawing a card is always good too. Defensively drawing that card is just a big game changer in the premium format. Right now running 4 of the Alice of the Fortress. I am also running 4 of our, the PGs right here. The deck space is so tight. You can try to put Elementary in if you want to cut any one of my techs, but I really like this deck teched out. It kind of gives me a lot of different options into a lot of different matchups, which is why I actually feel pretty confident with this deck. But I'm running 4 of these. If you want to put an Elementary, sure, do it. Up your crit count, and then put that other Sentinel back into the deck. And this is just a proxy right here. I probably would run the blue OT if I had to. But sometimes I want to run like the red. I think the blue is pretty much the right choice right now. I've honestly also tried it with the vanilla. It does not feel bad. You should always kind of have another rear guard kind of like on standby, so to speak. It's decent in some situations, but mainly the blue OT, just putting more crit pressure on is better, especially since we've cut the crits down in this build right here. So that is pretty much the regular main deck. Let's get into the G zone now. All right, kicking us off in the G zone, we're running actually 3 of this, just because this is our main stride over here, Goddess of the Firmament Dion. So let's go over Dion's skill, just because it is such an important part of our build over here. Act in the G zone if your Vanguard is, basically, if you have the Mythic Beast Fenrir as your Vanguard and you didn't get a marker, aka you rode the G version, you can do the whole, discard the grade 3, go and stride this going first. Again, this is like the thing that's kind of changed like the premium landscape. Everybody knows this from the premium collection. If you're new to Vanguard, maybe you didn't know it, so I just wanted to go over it right there. But so once you stride onto this guy's, when its attack hits, activates even if the attack doesn't hit. Again, another one of the errata changes. But its main skill over here, when this Vanguard hits, when this attack hits a Vanguard, Soul Blast 3, look at the top 3 of your deck, choose a card from among them, put it into your hand, put the rest into your soul, fueling your soul, kind of giving you back that Soul Blast 3 costs. Also, the Fenrir on stride gives you that as well. It's nice to just kind of have it later on into the game. There are certain strides you can go into, which will actually burn through your soul. So this does synergize decently with them overall. Also, the Soul Blast 3 is really good to activate Fenrir's on stride. The Counterblast Call Something Down can activate off of this, can activate other things. Also, the Grade 0, this can also pair with that as well if you want to stack a column or just create that 5th attack option as well. So a lot of different things this kind of enables. Just a really good card. You do want to go into it first stride. Your second stride can honestly be it too, and I want to give myself that option because this is the more aggressive build, so that's why I'm actually including it at 3 of. I've had some people kind of debate me on it. Again, it's just like personal playstyle. That's just what I want to do. Next up over here, I would probably shade this to 2, and I'll tell you what I would include. I just straight up don't have the card, so I'm not going to include it in here. But 3 of the newer Stride Soul offering, what is this? Heavenly Dragon, Jadaganaruga, something like that. I don't know. Half these names, I have no idea who comes up with them. This guy auto on Vanguard. Circle once per turn when this unit attacks. You get to turn a card from your G zone face up. Choose any number of cards with different grades from your drop. Put them into your soul. This guy gets 10k until the end of turn. And then when your opponent's unit is put on Guardian Circle, other than from their deck, Soul Blast 3, retire that unit. Your opponent looks at the top card of their deck, calls it a Guardian Circle. It's kind of a gamble. Chances are you kind of went Force 1 in this build, just because when we do get the 2 markers from this right here, you are going to be stacking it. Personally, I put it on like 1 rearguard marker, just because we're going to kind of get more use out of it in general. If you do that, your Vanguard attacks become a little less threatening. But, if they're at 4, if they're at 5, towards the end of the game, you pop this guy down. They need to start really, you're going to burn through your soul to get rid of their, basically all their guardians. It's like a very weird kind of situation. Your opponent's not used to it. They could kind of slip up and maybe overcommit to like this guy's attack or whatever it is. This can create certain gateways for you. You could shave one down and create another one of this, but I feel like if you're even going to go into it, you only really run 1 in the game. But this is Complete Beauty Amaruda Aprobos. She is an interesting card. Act on Vanguard Circle. You get to Counterblast 1, turn a card from your G zone face up, and then until the end of turn. One of your rear guards get 10k plus a crit, and if your soul has 4 or less cards, draw 2 cards and soul charge 5. So helped us with that second skill over here. A lot of these other things too. It's not hard to make soul in this deck, but auto on Vanguard Circle at the end of battle attack, Soul Blast 15, stand one of your rear guards till the end of turn. Your opponent cannot call sentinels from hand. So that is just till the end of turn, so you might have 2 standing rear guards. If your opponent can interact with your rear guards, yeah, this isn't as powerful, but in certain matchups, this is just like the game over card. So take it as you will. It is pretty decent overall, so definitely worth to include at one Marduk, just to keep it interesting. There are times where you kind of want to just, swing simple, easy, get some stuff out from Soul, maybe have some of those, Counterblast or the On-Stride skill. We'll go off the, what was the other one over there, the Grade 0. This can enable it, like a mid-battle phase kind of thing going on. So Marduk is what it is, kind of go and replaces the Vanguard swing. A little sneaky overall. Maybe your opponent doesn't think you can stride. You have no cards in hand. This is an option. I feel like it's always worth it to go in. This kind of filler right here, I would kind of take this out. I would take one of each of these out right here for a Vanagander. I just straight up, like I said, don't have the card, the Grade 4 version of it. It's decent in this deck. I think it's definitely one of the better strides. It's just not 100% necessary. And I was like, do I really want to buy them for like $15 a pop? I kind of passed on that, but it is what it is. This girl over here, choose a card face down from your G zone, turn it up, and then Soul Blast any number of cards. Choose one of your rear guards for each Soul Blasted card. They get 4k until the end of turn. And if we Soul Blasted 3 or more cards, we have to draw a card or countercharge one. If you need to kind of prep for next turn, if you need to counterblast for whatever reason, boom, you can do that here. Set yourself up nicely. I feel like this is, it's an okay filler slot for that. Getting into the G guards, I'm running 2 of the new one. This is such a great card. Sky Enforcing Light Dragon. Anavarta. Anavarta will let us, when it's put on Guardian Circle, put a card from our hand or our rear guard into your soul, and this guy gets 10k until the end of battle. Then if you put a total of 2 or more cards from your hand and rear guards into soul, choose one of your opponent's units, and then it gets -2 until the end of turn. So basically, it's not just 2, it's 3. So you put 1, and then you put another 2. So it's 3 altogether, but you're kind of negating an attack, which, again, could spell life or death. This is really such a great card. This guy's pretty good too. Ultimate Regalia of Affection. Has it ear? I think that's an eye. Yeah, it's an eye. I just really can't see. When this unit is placed on Guardian Circle, choose up to 4 cards with different grades from your drop and put them into your soul. And if you put 2 or more cards until the end of battle, this guy gets an extra 5k. And then if you put 4 or more cards, gets an additional 10k. So 30k shield for pretty easy. Could be flip fodder. This also could be flip fodder over here. When this unit is placed on Guardian Circle, choose up to 3 cards from your drop zone, put them into your soul, and if 3 cards were put, this guy gets 5k until the end of battle. And then our last 3, this is just a proxy for the Messiah. Have to do it. Super expensive card, so annoying. But 2 of the Witch Queen of Accomplishment. Accomplishment. Laurier. I don't know how to say that. Choose a face down G Guardian from your G zone, turn it face up. When this guy's placed on Guardian Circle, you may pay the cost. If you do, put a total up to 3 normal units with the same grade from your drop zone to your soul, and return them to deck. And then this guy gets, from your drop zone or soul, or not to soul. I was like, wait a minute, that doesn't sound right. This guy gets an additional 5k until the end of battle for each of those cards returned, and then shuffle your deck. So honestly, it's super low key, like underrated that, putting cards back into soul on your turn is super big, or your opponent's turn is super big. Can kind of help you set up for next turn, just kind of enable your plays altogether. And yeah, that's pretty much the deck over here. I think that defensively you have a ton of different options. You have that aggression kind of built in to the deck. This has kind of all the options that you could want. If you are a player who kind of likes that flexibility, you like that freedom, I think this is the build for you. If you want to go a little bit more, like I said, the V interruption version, like totally cool, like a core mix list, go online, check out, join communities, try to learn a little bit more about what's cooking with the deck currently right now. But I'm having a ton of fun with this deck. I think I've come to a pretty good point with it. And I just wanted to bring it to you guys. So let me know what you think down below. Let me know if you enjoyed the video by leaving a like on it over here. And remember to subscribe to the channel if you did enjoy the content. Thank you very much. This is Alex from AlexCFE signing out.